Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Rural Symposium, Natural Resource Investing, is brought to you by G Mining Ventures.
Hello and welcome to Kitco Mining at the Rural Symposium in Boca Raton with me, Paul Harris. The Lassonde curve teaches us that you need to be in the right part of a company cycle to benefit. Empress Royalty CEO Alex Sherron says her company is on the right part of the cycle. Alex, welcome to Kitco.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Empress is quite a new company, so why don't you start off, tell us who is Empress Royalty?
So we are a royalty and streaming creation company. We're focused on getting mines either into production or helping them expand their production capacity. And with the result of that, we bring revenue into Empress and create real shareholder value.
Okay, so what is the focus of the company and what have been some of your transaction highlights?
So for us, it's building a portfolio of revenue generating assets. We currently in the portfolio have 3 assets that are producing revenue. We have a gold stream in Peru, we have a silver stream in Mexico that's just getting into production now, and also a gold royalty in Mozambique. So those combined 3 investments, which we invested $19.5 million into, are generate about $6-7 million US this year, depending on metal prices, and about $50 million cumulatively over the next 5 years is what's expected.
Okay, don't all royalty companies want to generate revenues?
I would think so, yes. But no, we're very much more focused, and that really is using our experience. So my background is I'm an investment banker from Endeavor Financial. I teamed up with David Rhodes, who's the managing director of Endeavor Financial. And what we were seeing is that streaming companies are doing bigger and bigger ticket sizes of $100 million plus, and no one was providing this financing solution to the smaller side of the market. And that's what we set up Empress, a sub $25 million, looking at gold and silver opportunities, as I mentioned before, mines getting into production or already in production, helping them expand the production capacity. And as a result, getting great returns. Our IRR is about 30% right now.
Okay, so sub $25 million in terms of deal size, does that give you, in the royalty and streaming space, does that give you a sort of a competitive advantage? Are there other players focusing on that space, or is that terrain you've sort of marked out for yourself?
So there was a lot of new entrants in the last 2 years into the royalty and streaming space, especially in the junior side. We kind of view it, there's 3 types. There is the exploration generation, early stage, inexpensive to acquire, but there's a long lead time to revenue generation, if in fact it does become a mine. Then there's buying third-party royalties, so simple acquisition, no relationship with the mining company, and that has become very competitive. So you're part of a competing bid process, typically not getting great returns or lower returns. We're in the creation side, and that is really leveraging off our experience and Endeavor's network as well to create these new royalties as streams, working directly with the companies, be able to de-risk them and create flexible structures, and as we've now demonstrated, be able to get great returns.
During your presentation this morning, you talked about, in terms of deal flow, you said you've got a few things on the boil at the moment, a couple of those you have exclusivity on. So does that sort of talk to the fact that you go out to these smaller companies and say, look, this could be a good solution for your financing need at this moment in time, let's have a conversation?
Yeah, so, some of the companies we invest in are private, they don't have access to the equity markets. Other are public companies, they've got a bit of debt, it's hard times to raise equity, so we're able to provide that streaming finance structure for them. The 2 opportunities I'm looking at the moment, we have exclusivity on, we've done advanced technical due diligence, and we're in the documentation phase. For us, it is growing out a portfolio. We're all large shareholders in the company, so it's growing out the portfolio and creating that right diversification and finding assets that make sense to bring into the portfolio.
Okay. The precious metal space has been pretty awful for many companies for quite a while now in terms of access to the capital markets. What is your sense of what's going on in the capital markets, and is this good for your deal flow?
For us, it is good deal for the deal flow. Again, there's companies that can't raise the full amount of equity they need to get into production, and we're able to fill that gap for them. When the markets turn positive and it's a precious metal run, there are other companies that maybe are private that want to capitalize on that. So we see it on both sides of the market in terms of our business model. Again, we're not in a competitive bid process. These are known groups to us through our vast network, through the management and board.
Okay. One of the other sort of trends in the royalty and streaming space in recent years has been consolidation. What's your view on that? And at some point, do you expect Empress to engage in that as well?
For us, we really are focused on building the company out. We just launched 2 years ago. We had a strategy of creating the royalties focused on revenue producing assets on the smaller side of the market. We want to continue to do that. We had a concept, we've proven it out, we're bringing the revenue now into Empress. So it's just repeat and continue. There's no shortage of opportunity for us to grow this company out.
Okay, we're at the Rule Symposium, and Rick Rule has personally been an investor in the company. Tell us about that. I imagine that's been a huge boost to you.
It has been. We met Rick right before the Rick Rule conference last year, and he was a small shareholder. We came to this conference, which is a fantastic conference. I think it's a very intimate one where investors really do get to speak to the companies, dig into the companies, as Rick recommends, doing the homework, going through the financials, all those types of things. And having him as a shareholder, we did another private placement with him in the fall to get him into a bigger position in Empress. But this conference has been fantastic. Really high quality investors who really want to learn about the companies.
Okay, thank you. Now, in terms of sort of digging into the company and into the financials, your new company, you're revenue generating, but you booked a loss for 2022 and again in the March quarter of this year. What is going on, and what are you doing to sort of fix things and really improve the financials?
Yeah, I think it's really important to say, we started this company, we've invested $19.5 million into the portfolio. Only one of those was a producing asset. Two of those were development stage assets, which are now getting into production. So, we had the cash flow coming in from Peru. We've got the revenue now coming in from Mozambique. We've got the revenue now just coming through in our project in Mexico owned by Luca Mining. They've just hit 500 tons per day. They'll be increasing that production. So for us, it's just been, a concept, proof of concepts happened, and that revenue is starting to come in. We're forecasting between $6 and $7 million in revenue this year.
Okay, and this morning you mentioned something about a debt restructure. What are you looking to do there?
So we currently have a debt facility available to us through Nabari. We have an accordion loan for $15 million. We drew down $5 million. We've been repaying that, and that allowed us to increase our position in our Peruvian asset and our Mozambique asset. And we've got $10 million more available to us now, US. What I'm looking now to doing is restructuring that debt facility and increasing it, which would allow me to do two of the potential opportunities I'm looking at right now in Africa.
Okay. Now, as we're sort of talking about forward-looking statements, what can we expect to see in terms of milestones or catalysts from Empress over the next 6 to 12 months?
We want to grow the portfolio out. So as I mentioned, we've got exclusivity on 2 transactions that we're digesting at the moment and working on. We want to bring those, if they prove to be successful, into the portfolio. So it's increasing the portfolio, but also the revenue, more revenue is going to be coming in from Peru, more revenue from Mozambique. And as Luca Mining, they've just hit 500 tons, which is a huge milestone for them. And as they reach towards 1,000 tons in a year, that will be increased revenue.
Excellent. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. Alex Sherron, CEO of Empress Royalty, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me online.
And stay tuned to more from Kitco Mining from the Rule Symposium in Boca Raton, Florida.
Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Rule Symposium, Natural Resource Investing, is brought to you by G Mining Ventures.